I now invite Shalini Pasi and Ruchika Mehta to launch the book.
I now invite our esteemed speaker to begin the session.
Good afternoon. What a pleasure being here in this beautiful city, in this beautiful weather, in this fabulous crowd with the fabulous Shalini Pasi launching her book, The Art of Being Fabulous. Congratulations, Shalini.
Thank you, Ruchika, for this beautiful introduction. Thank you, JLF, for having me here. Thank you, Penguin, for making this possible. Thank you, Sunflower Seeds, for believing in me. And not audible? Okay, then I'll just start. So, thank you so much for this beautiful introduction. Thank you, JLF, for having me here. Thank you, Penguin, Random House, for believing in me. Thank you, Sunflower Seeds, for pushing it. And of course, my family, who has been the most supportive. And my mom is here, and my friend Noel is here as well. So, thank you all.
Great. Shalini, The Art of Being Fabulous, I think, starts with you looking fabulous tonight, this afternoon. What does being fabulous mean to you?
Being fabulous is how you feel inside and the things that you do and how it translates into your being.
So you often say in your everyday life that everything is fabulous from should be fabulous rather from the food you eat to the path you walk on to the friends you make to the cities you travel to. When did you start thinking that way? I mean, it doesn't come overnight. I mean, that whole shift of energy and mindset has been fabulous for a long time. So when did it all start for
So
you?
the word fabulous actually, the Dharma team, the Dramatics team, and the Netflix team came up with the title for the series. But it was them who made me realize that I had been diligently working very hard. So for me, fabulous means working hard, doing the same thing, trying to achieve different things with it, being true to yourself. And I think they sort of came up with this word, and I was pleasantly surprised when they changed the title to Fabulous Lives versus Bollywood Lives. Fabulous being me, and so I think it was them who did it. And I'm just living my own life, and if people think it's fabulous, then I'm really happy about that.
Coming back to the series, of course, congratulations. You kind of swept the series through and through. Season three probably totally and fully belonged to you. How has life changed for you after that?
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. So before, like, yeah. So Karan said to me that now that you're famous, are you have you become very stuck up? So I said, no, Karan. I was always stuck up, and and I was always arrogant. But now when I see people who don't know me, people from all walks of life, women, and they're showering so much love and affection on me, and I feel more humble today because if the audience or the viewers or the reader is getting something from me, if they're getting inspiration, what I'm getting from them is love, and that has actually become the wind beneath my wings. So they are giving me much more than I'm giving them. So it's, I think, a give and take between the audience and the person who's on camera. So for me, that what they give me has enriched my life, so I'm really grateful for that.
Shalini, you said that you are arrogant and you're stuck up. Now, there's still so much love coming your way. Do you see it as being wary? Do you treat it as being your strength? Do you see it as being conscious? Why do people get attracted to you even when you think you're like that?
Well, because honestly, for me, I I do things for myself. So I think there's a genuine effort. Like if I want to wear something or if I want to do something or my love for arts or design or fashion is because I want to do it, not because I want to impress somebody or I have to do it. So I think that genuinity has, is what people have really loved. And I think it's most important that when you are on your journey and you just have to just follow your heart and not get, like mixed up with what people are saying. Also, there's a bit of ego, there's a bit of arrogance, there's a bit of humbleness, there's a bit of everything in us, and it's what we present to the world. It's how we control these emotions is what is important. Like this, I'm learning so much. Thank you. Oh yeah, this does make a lot of difference. Okay, thanks. Hi, Sanjoy.
So there you are. Now, when did you think and why did you think your art of looking and being fabulous needed to be translated into the vocabulary or into a book?
So after the success of the series, couple of publishing houses reached out to me, and just out of respect, I, instead of writing them and saying that my English is very basic and I don't think I have much to say and my ideas are very home baked and it's just me, I actually got on a call with somebody from Penguin and I said, listen, I'm really honored that you think that I can author a book, but honestly, I have not achieved much and I have very less to say. Like there's not much that I think I can make a difference or anything. And they explained to me whatever they said made sense, and I decided not to shoot for about for the time that I was writing the book, and I just got on with it, and we have now this book which has 10 rules for a beautiful life, and that's how it started.
I think just like she says, it's as basic and as clear and simple as she is. Even the book that I read through before I came for this session, the rules are as simple and in the same language that she speaks. Now, I think what created a world of lovers and fans for you was that you were real. You were as close as it can and as different as you are right now to everybody. And your soups, your juices, they all became a cult. They became a trend, they
Yeah.
became a fad, they became viral. Now, wellness, as we see, is something that you kind of propagated, you've adopted, you've adapted in various forms of your life. We, beyond the book and beyond what we saw in the series, tell us that one wellness ritual.
So you've said a lot of things, so I'm going to answer bit by bit. So when I was filming the series, I used to almost call up my therapist every day. She was also on the show. I used to tell her everybody is going to think I'm a rich, spoiled brat, and I used to be like, everyone's going to think I'm this, and then I used to say, but I am a rich, spoiled brat. And then, but you know what, I realized that camera doesn't lie. So it caught the bit of honesty, the genuineness that I had. Camera caught that. And all these nuskas, Delhi, as we know, Delhi is the capital of Jugaad. So we have a solution for everything. We think we are doctors, we think we are lawyers, we think we are plumbers, we are everything. If somebody can do it, a professional can do it, Delhi people can do it better. So that chip of Delhi I have on my shoulder, I say I can do everything. मैं खुद कुछ कर सकती हूँ. And 2 days ago, I met this chef, Vikas Khanna. He was here from New York. And he said, my dentist showed me your clip and said, this is, if you want to drink coffee, please drink coffee with a straw. And the entire dentist community has actually passed that video on to so many of their people who would come regularly for cleaning and stuff like that. So I come up with all these things as self-preservation, because that's what it was. It's just the need to self-preserve in my own way rather than, just listening to what other people had to say.
And that's a great one, but Delhi is just not a city of jugars, it's also a city of aping. So the first ones to ape drinking coffee with a straw was Delhi. Half of Delhi has taken to it. So welcome
Champagne
to our
also.
Champagne also. There you go.
Yeah.
So let the flutes fly and go wherever they want to. We are happy with a straw on that.
Yeah.
Somewhere in the book, you've mentioned that you were you know, you never had the confidence of facing camera. You always had that shyness and that hesitation about talking, going up on stage, stage fear, all of that in your growing up years. What shifted that you accepted a Netflix series that's really, I mean, that you really need a lot of guts to kind of go in front of a camera on a reality show or on a candid show?
Yeah, so growing up in school, I really enjoyed dancing, and I did have some sort of presence, but I was very scared of the camera because I thought I looked better in person than I looked in camera. One was that. I felt my nose looked very big on camera and in real as well. And I thought my voice sounded like a child's voice. And I used to really admire people who had this sexy voice, and I used to really wish, and I used to look at them when they spoke, this, you know, how are they speaking? Like, where is this voice coming from, and why is my voice like this? So for the longest time, I used to be very, very conscious of my voice and the way I looked on camera. In 2018, I started on this journey where I said, you know, I have to get over the phobia of the camera because the times had changed. It was almost crippling. People, instead of, you know, getting a written interview, would ask for a picture or a video interview or a video bite, and then I was just not happening. And then I wanted to do a travel show, which I wanted to, you know, do it with a big OT platform. So to get out of the inhibition, I started I started shooting a lot. So I shot all over India, from Leh, Ladakh, Pondicherry, Bikaner, Jaisalmer, Dharamshala. But that actually never materialized because the networks felt that I needed a larger audience. And when I was offered this series by Karan, I definitely, and they said they were coming to Delhi. And I love Delhi, and I love shooting in my home because I don't have to leave the house. It saves me time, travel time, and everything. And I thought, why not? And it's going to be fun. So that's how it just started.
Your book talks a lot about reinvention. I mean, you reinvent, you often say in your conversations that I like to rediscover and reinvent myself on a day-to-day basis. Tell us about your journey across many decades of reinvention. What has been the most iconic part of it? What has been the most monumental part of your
I think for me, when anybody is able to point me down, like anybody is able to say, this is what Shalini Pasi is, I'm kind of defiant and I go and change it. The day they say she's this, and this, I hate being in boxes, I hate being in categories. The day they'll say, oh, she's whatever she is, I want to go and change it. Like I'm kind of rebellious, but not openly rebellious, but in my own head. So for me, I don't want to be defined. I've never wanted to be defined. I've never wanted to be confined. I've remained in, but I want to be free. I want to be open. So for me, the idea of being free, for me, the idea of just being, that's the main thing for me.
So if somebody says Shalini Pasi is not this, will you try and prove to say I am that?
Well, I won't do it just to prove it, but it will feed on my subconscious mind, and eventually, if I get an opportunity, I will hit back.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it comes out in
That's
the book.
why I just stay like really on my own, because I don't want to hear what anybody has to say because it does play. Like I'm a human being, like everybody else. But for me, instead of pulling me down, it has a different effect on me. So
Great. Let's come back to the part that we're all here for. Is also the net series, Fabulous Lives. One high and one low. What was the high about being part of the series?
I think the high was being in front of the camera and jumping into the water as many times as I wanted to. But that was the high for me. I loved it. And I think the low was when the shooting ended, because I was really liking romancing the camera. So for me, when the shooting finished, then it was, then I started writing the book, so I had to take a break. And yeah.
So I think this is a question I put together when I came to the end of the book, that at the end of the book, you reflect on what you hope will remain after you. What do you truly hope for?
So for me, I think I honestly feel that there's so much that I need to achieve, and there's so much that I need to do. I want to work on things that are bigger than myself, and I hope I'm able to do that. And for that I need everybody as well. It's not just me. It's a collective thing.
What next, Shalini? You've been a collector, you've been a philanthropist, you've now faced the camera. You are going to surprise everybody with a short movie role also. What next? Now you got a book before The Fabulous Nest came out in another way. What next?
So what next? There are lots of things. There are lots of announcements that are going to happen this year. So you have to stay tuned.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's Shalini Pasi, always going to surprise you, never disclosing what it is. So let's keep waiting because it is going to be a pleasant one at that.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Before we end, this is one question which I often ask her and everybody else I've heard asking. Shalini, one Shalini Pasi mantra that has clicked with you and you hope will click with everybody else.
Well, there are many actually, and I often tell my own self, and I think that this book is also a reminder to me. Either you're super intelligent or you have to be super hardworking. If you have average intelligence and you're super hardworking and disciplined, you can be very successful.
Super. And I think we've seen the results from your art, from your cooking to your singing, and now writing a book. Well, congratulations and good luck on Art of Being Fabulous. Keep behaving fabulous.
Thank you so much.
Keep looking fabulous.
Thank
and
you.
keep spreading your fabulousness to the world.
Thank you.
Shalini, that's you for us. Thank you. We have to open the questions. Sorry, we'll open the Q&A round to the audience if anybody is interested. We have 10 minutes if anybody wants to ask questions.
Yeah, sure. But we have to send you the mic or you want to come forward.
Hello.
Hello, ma'am.
Hi, Shalini.
Hi.
I've loved watching you on the show. Me, my mom, and everyone, we've loved watching you on show and we've loved every bit of it. My question to you is, the Netflix show highlights a lot of sisterhood and female friendships. How has female friendships impacted your life?
Well, I think I love my girlfriends. I love my friends and they love me too. And I think we all meet friends who are supporting you and sometimes teaching you, sometimes getting angry at you, sometimes protective, sometimes pulling you down. So I think female friendships also like define you, right? It's how you are with your women friends. If you're secure, if you're jealous, that also defines who you are because, you know, somebody will be more beautiful, more educated, you know, more talented or just plain lucky. So you have to accept that. And mostly like people sort of, you know, when I've seen many times if a certain friend is successful, they'll often go after her. And if somebody's not doing well, everyone will, you know, be okay with her. So I think that competitiveness, we all have to look beyond that.
Great.
Hi, ma'am. Hello. Hi, ma'am. Hi. मैम आप बहुत खूबसूरत हैं आपको शो में देखा था उससे ज़्यादा खूबसूरत आप सामने से हैं
इसलिए तो मैंने नहीं करा इतने साल अब आप समझे
आपको देखिए बहुत पॉजिटिव वाइब आती है और आपने शो में बोला था कि आपको कोई कुछ नेगेटिव बोलता है तो वो आप कभी भी आप उसको ध्यान नहीं देती या फिर आप ध्यान देती हैं बट उसके बारे में ज़्यादा सोचती नहीं क्योंकि उससे आपकी स्किन ख़राब हो जाएगी वो चीज़ मैंने ऐसे इम्बाइब कर ली तो जो कुछ भी कोई कहता है अब तो मैं सोचती नहीं
बहुत अच्छे लग रहे हैं आप बहुत सुंदर लग रहे हैं आप गुड बहुत अच्छा ग्लो है फेस पे गुड आई एम सो हैप्पी
Hi, ma'am.
Hi.
As you mentioned, the dentist community. So I am one of those dentists who made a reel with your video of, and you are so kind. You shared the reel on your story too.
Yes.
And you are so humble and so authentic.
I'm not humble.
You are. for a normal person, you know, it becomes a big deal if a celebrity shares their reel or a video
No,
on
you
their
all
page.
made so much effort. I shared everything. In fact, my team told me, ma'am, don't share everything. I said, but I'm going to.
Yeah, that's so kind. So my
Yeah.
question to you is, you said your authenticity is your power. And because you are a celebrity, but for normal people, if we try to stay authentic, there are a lot of oppositions And some point of time our confidence goes down because we have to put a mask and stay
You
in
know,
front.
when you get a new pair of jeans, you take time to get into the fit, right? People will get used to what you give them. They have to accept you. I mean, you can't be obnoxious and you can't be mean, but they will accept. Like, if you have certain standards, people will accept. And you cannot impose standards on other person and not abide by it. You can't expect others to behave in a different way and you don't. So I think it's like slowly, if you just, say, okay, this is what I'm going to do and this is what I need to do to remain sane with my family and friends, and they will accept it.
I think that's very well said. And another mantra we all need to adopt, Shalini.
Hello, Shalini ji.
Hi.
I heard some of your podcasts, and in one of those, you told that you don't color your hair.
Yeah.
Is it true?
I
Don't color your hair.
say don't color your hair to the younger generation who don't need to.
No, but
Because
do you yourself do? Because you said you do some natural things.
I
and-
use henna on the 1 or 2 white hair that I have, grey, one from my son's admissions, one from COVID. So I put henna on them. So I just find it time consuming. I admire people who have like full colored hair and style. I really admire them. It takes a lot of energy.
Hello.
Hello.
Good afternoon, Shavni. I have watched your series not once but twice, and it is just because of you. You were different and you were fabulous, as you say. What intimidates Shalini?
Somebody who is extremely highly educated. I get intimidated by people who are very educated because I only did my graduation and after that I'm self-taught. So I get very intimidated by people who are extremely educated. I almost get paralyzed and I freeze if I know somebody has done a PhD and an MBA, and I go like, oh my God, if I say anything and what am I going to say? I get intimidated by that. Yeah, by education, basically. But that is the truth. And I admire people who are educated because it takes a lot of discipline and you give a certain number of your life to studying. So,
Yeah, hi Shalini, hope you're doing good.
who's asking?
Yeah. Hi.
Hi.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I hope you're doing good. As we could see on the show, Shalini Pasi was such a hot topic for the other wives. So
What?
Shalini Pasi was such a gossiping topic for other wives.
Huh.
We could see them team up against you. So how does it feel when the whole world talks about you?
I'm used to it. There are 4 stages of loving Shalini Pasi. In that, they say first it's disbelief, first is shock, disbelief, then it goes on and on. So when they reach ultimate surrender, then I talk to them because they've surrendered to everything that I'm doing. In fact, the friend who actually made the 4 stages made another stage. He said, I cannot take it anymore. You're always running off, doing something. He said, I can't handle the drama anymore. So he says, I'm not going to be friends with you. So the 5th stage was you run away. And then he made a 6th stage is that you come back because everybody else is of no substance. So now there's 6 stages. So the thing is that in every sphere, there are people who, instead of focusing on their work, their lives, focus on what you do. My time and my energy is limited. For me, I go on from projects to projects. If I have to have a UNICEF meeting or a meeting with an artist, or if I have to go to a temple visit, I don't have the time to think what somebody has said in anywhere, right? For me, that chapter, that portion is already closed, and I will take away, this is what I did, this is how I spoke, this is what I wrote, this is what my team did. That is what I'm analyzing. I'm not analyzing what you thought. I'm not analyzing, of course, I'm not going to make you feel bad, or not intentionally at least, but I think that's why I've kept myself busy, because if you're busy, then you don't have time for these in-between things. Whether you can even cultivate a hobby. If you're doing, suppose you're running for a singing class or a painting class or anything else, or even just helping, you will not have time to think about few people.
Hi, ma'am here.
this side. I'm a huge fan of yours because you're so graceful and ambitious and also a philanthropist. And always when you're in your interviews, you're always looking, for the person and giving them gifts also, like the Aishwarya Mohan Raj interview we saw. Um, uh, first question is that how do you balance both grace and ambition for somebody who is a youngster who wants to learn from you?
So have you seen obviously you've seen a swan, right? You've seen a swan floating on the lake beautifully, looking peaceful, under the water. She's paddling very, very fast, and the feet are very ugly. So I just thought to myself that if my hard work and shows on me, I will stop working. The day that struggle comes on to me, like in not just physically, but in a way that my behavior is not graceful or generous or becoming, I will stop working. Because I want to be like a swan who's working very hard, and still that is not the anxiety, the insecurity, the whatever is not coming onto her. So I visualize myself as that swan.
Thank you. That's very kind of you. Just one more question. Like you've been a media person for so long. How do you maintain boundaries when people cross boundaries?
Well, it takes years and years to maintain boundaries. You also have to you have to tell people that the work that you are doing is important. Whatever you're doing, it could be something big, it could be something small. I always say that a housewife's work is never done, because she'll come back from her work, take care of the children, and then, and if there's a storm, she will be the one who will go and check the kundi on the balcony. So I think boundaries are most important because you have to tell your family and friends that this is what is in my work is important to me. It might not seem important to you, but what I do is important to me. And it takes time. And especially with women, when I see in our country, we are still privileged. There are countries where women have very few, they don't have as much. But I think it all comes with slowly asserting yourself in a nice way,
Hi, Shalini.
Hi.
You're looking stunning.
Thank you.
Fabulous and literature. What's fabulous literature for you?
I just,
Put it down.
please judge the book by the cover. It's as fabulous a read as the cover. So I think the book is very personal. It's very homemade, like the cover, everything. Like it's just lots of fans reached out, lots of people reached out, lots meaning like thousands of people reached out wanting to know simple things. And it's all here in the book. And yeah, that's what it is. Thank you. Hi, yeah.
Hi, ma'am. You look fabulous, actually.
Thank you.
So, I wanted to ask, what's the one advice you would like to give the school girls who are like struggling to express their feelings or like to face the cameras, as you are like such a amazing figure to admire? And all.
I think the most important thing is that you have to love your parents. You have to listen to your parents. You have to listen to, they have seen the world, trust me. And I mean, honestly, our generation has seen a lot. We've seen a black and white television turn to color, television turn to a phone, Instagram. So we have seen everything. So, I mean, I'm sorry, biggest advice, you have to listen to your parents. They know better. And there's nobody who loves you more. And they will have sacrificed their lives. You must understand that our generation, we listen to our parents and then we listen to our children. So please give us a break. The other thing is, yeah, we are the piso generation. पहले माँ बाप की बात सुनो, अब बच्चों की सुननी पड़ती है. So अभी क्या बोलो? आपको तो पता ही है. अब मैं, so I think also don't get carried away by, like, when I was in school, I used to see these ads. I had curly hair, and everybody who had straight hair looked beautiful. And you cannot measure beauty by what you see on Instagram. Those pictures takes hours, to click and then hours to edit. the lighting is perfect, they're professionals. It's almost like a painting. So you cannot measure yourself to what you're seeing on camera. It's like there's so much that goes. So one is that. Second, you have to follow your heart, but do it in a way that you are not hurting other people. I've always said that. The second thing is hard work. Hard work is very important for everything. And do as many things that you can, because you know the society is so open now. You have opportunities. When I was young, I had to like carry books and read them. And then this concept of online classes came. You know, you could. So that was like, I was so happy that I could do that. I did online classes, but I mean, you guys have everything on your fingers. You know, you can Google, you can know about anything. The more you enrich yourself, I think that's really helpful. And friends, how you are to your friends, how you are to your, everything comes back to you, how you are to people. So, thank you.
Hi, Shalini. I'm Deeksha. I'm
Hi.
a sociology student.
Hi.
My guilty pleasure was to watch Fabulous Life of Bollywood Wives, to be very honest. And I think a lot of people can resonate to that. Coming back to the sociology question that I have is related to the social dynamics that have changed. And lately, I've got the opportunity to meet people, specifically women who are in their 50s, and they were married way early in their lives. But after listening to their story and where they have come, I've realized that marriage was not the end for them. And listening to your podcast, specifically the first one with Deepak Parikh, I recall how you share that you got married very early and you grew technically with your own son. Considering the marriage dynamics right now, that you know everybody just wants to delay marriage, women don't even want to marry. What would you want to say to a lot of girls out there, women like us, who are delaying the process? We think that it could be the end of everything or the world, and a lot of concerns and questions that
So
we have.
I honestly don't blame women who are delaying marriage, because women, we are as educated as our brothers and husbands and colleagues. What happens is when a woman gets married, they eventually have a child, and and then they either have to work very hard or sacrifice the time with their family and children and carry on working, or give up the job. And when they decide to come back to that job after 6 years, this is a saddest thing, which they decide to come after 6-7 years when the children are grown up, the world has changed. They're no longer qualified for the job they were doing phenomenally before. And this is not an issue which is in India, which is an issue worldwide. That's why we have aging population around the world. We don't have women who want to have children. Even if they are getting married, they are not having children because they feel that my career, and then it is a problem which is all over the world, and it's a much larger issue. The governments, the society in general needs to address this, because otherwise we're going to have aging population and very few kids.
I have a question.
Yes.
What is your husband's role in helping you in being out of being fabulous? I know
Signing checks, I think.
he can write a book on art of being religious.
Art of being?
Religious. Mr. Pasi can
Yes,
write a book on
of course, his
art
role
of being
is-
religious.
I mean, honestly, he has been one of my biggest cheerleaders and supporters. And when I hadn't said yes to the series, and a friend of mine told him in Bombay that is she doing it? She said, of course he's doing it. But the thing is that why should women have to say he's my biggest supporter? I am my own supporter, and Sanjay has always been there for me. And he's somebody who's not insecure about his wife shining or being in the limelight. And I think men somewhere down the line get insecure. And my husband he's very religious and he works. So he has very few interests. And I think he's very pure in that. And he's not on social media. He doesn't get caught in gossip. So both of us sort of share that. And I think, yes. So.